A vast sky shines upon Japan as a pink-haired girl fights a monster in the dark that throws a hot white liquid, a giant spider. The spider drags the girl, and she uses a chant that shoots a fire orb from the sword and kills the monster. The girl's name is Ayano, and her friends invite her to a karaoke. A gust of wind blows and lifts their skirts for a shot, and they scream their hate for the winds. The focus shifts to a mansion where Kazuma arrives to exorcise a spirit. Unfortunately, he meets an old family friend who tells the client he is a failure in their family. After they exchange words about their family, it almost causes a fight, but the evil spirit appears from behind. Kazuma's family friend uses the fire magic, but it does not succumb and explodes the orb in the mansion. Kazuma tells him it's a Yama and uses a net of wind slashes to obliterate it. Ayano is late for her home and rushes from karaoke to reach it. As she arrives in the street, a kid with white hair, Kazuma's brother, tells him his brother has returned to Japan after 4 years. Ayano mentions that Kazuma lost a fight with her as soon as he was about to leave. At the family's home, Shingo, Kazuma's family friend, is now labeled as a failure and a stain to the family as he lost to a wind user. Everyone in the room is disappointed at how a member of the head branch of the Kanagi family changed his name and became a wind magic user. The family has no place for someone who cannot use fire magic, and Kazuma's brother worries if his brother will ever return. A menacing night approaches, and Shingo, including some of the other Kanagi family members, is killed by a silhouette that looks similar to Kazuma. Kazuma wakes up from a nightmare and gazes upon the beautiful scenery from his room. The investigation of the murder begins, and a wind user reveals that a wind user murdered Shingo and other members. Shingo's brother tells everyone if someone had a grudge against the Kanagi family, it was Kazuma. But there is no evidence claiming he is guilty, so the family's head, Genma, asks 2 people to confront Kazuma, and Ayano sneaks in as well. After they reach and begin to confront Kazuma, a fight breaks out, but Kazuma does not hurt them, until a spirit emerges from the sky and sends fatal slashes toward his family members, which drops some metal pipes upon them and heavily injures them. Kazuma knows who the spirit is and tells him it was a breach of their contract. Meanwhile, Ayano arrives and sees the family members, which makes her wet herself, and she starts attacking Kazuma. He tries to tell her it is all a misunderstanding, but he uses wind magic to knock some sense in her and tells her he is not guilty. Kazuma flies away as Ayano tells him she will not forgive him while his wind force guts her gown. As Kazuma looks over the city, he wonders what to do now. After being overpowered by Kazuma, Ayano lets her heat out in a cafe with her friends while she talks about how her father shouted at her last night, and her friends have their minds boggled. The Kazuma situation catches more fire at the Kanagi household as Shingo's brother and his companion are injured. Kazuma's father thinks Kazuma is trying to make himself the perpetrator as he made Ayano see his face while he injured Shingo's brother and his friend. Genma promises Jugo, his cousin and Ayano's father, to bring Kazuma back, even if he has to do it by force. Kazuma stands in his apartment when he receives a call from what turns out to be his father. He understands that his father did not call him to hear his voice. Instead, it was a confrontation. Kazuma stands beside a lake and reminisces the moment when his father kicked him out of the family for not being able to master fire magic. Kazuma realizes he is not the kid he used to be and wants to test if he has grown out of his pamper by fighting his father. A report at the Kanagi house comes in that the killer's identity is still unknown. The night approaches, and Ayano, in a bath, is furious that she cannot do anything to prevent the family crisis and blames it all on Kazuma. After a long wait, Genma approaches Kazuma and asks him to surrender, but his words are not powerful enough, and he resorts to a fight. The father and son fight each other with all their might and go over the top with each move. After Kazuma manages to dodge all of the attacks, his father asks once more to surrender, but Kazuma does not let his father beat him. Genma uses the Blue God's Fire, which only a few family members can control, but Kazuma uses his Wind Spirit, which bursts the God's Fire and beats Genma to a pulp. After he defeats his father, he has nothing to do. He returns to the apartment and meets with his younger brother, whom he fails to recognize. His brother, Ren, has come to convince him to return to the family and accidentally reveals his location to Ayano. Ren believes his brother is a contractor who comes into contract directly with the Spirit King and is blessed by all of their spirits. Kazuma tells him it is the first reason the Kanagi family can use fire magic but refuses the fact he is a contractor. Ren jumps to the point and asks if he is the one who killed the members of the Kanagi family using wind magic. Kanagi denies the allegation and tells Ren to return home and clear his name if he is innocent. Still, as the Kanagi family disowned Kazuma, his pride will not let him return to the family. Ren cries, and to make him happy, Kazuma says he will visit the household tomorrow and drop him there. As the morning breaks and Ayano almost reaches the hotel, someone slices the hotel in half, and Kazuma takes Ren and runs away as the hotel falls on Ayano. Kazuma and Ren reach a park, but the attacker, who looks similar to Kazuma but his juice is drained, attacks him. Kazuma sees something in it, and it retreats into the void with Ren. Kazuma promises to save Ren as Ayano follows him after she survives the attack. The hotel destruction caused a massive commotion in the city, and some top inspectors have arrived to investigate. The inspectors reveal the culprit is a wind magic user, and a specific wind user has returned to Japan. Kazuma returns to the Kanagi household to meet Jugo. He remembers when his mother, a personality who loves her child more than anything, disbanded him. Kazuma enters the household, but some guards try to stop him, and he sends them flying away. Jugo arrives at the gate to meet him, and Kazuma tells Jugo about a wind user kidnapping Ren and possibly the one who killed their family members. Jugo takes Kazuya to the household and shows him wind magic user files. Meanwhile, Ayano returns home, and their maid, Misao, tells her Kazuma has returned home and is currently meeting with her father, Jugo. Ayano bashes in and almost kills Kazuma, but her father stops her. Kazuma goes through the files to see if there is someone similar to the silhouette he has seen mentioned in the list. Fortunately, he notices someone and tells about them to Jugo. The wind magic user is Ryuya, who belongs to the Fuga clan, a family serving the Kanagi clan for a long time. Ayano is bamboozled, cannot believe the enemy is the Fuga clan, and still thinks Kazuma is the real culprit. Jugo reveals the Fuga clan is revolting as the Kanagi family stole their power source, a Yauma, 300 years ago. He also believes that the Fuga clan has kidnapped Ren to use him as a sacrificial goat to revive that Yauma. In the mountains, the preparations for sacrifice are underway by Hayao, a servant of Jugo, and the father of Ryuya, as he has found the seal's location, making the Yauma even stronger. All of the evil spirits near the seal were absorbed by Ryuya, which gave him enormous power and made him the host of the Yauma. Ren's sacrifice will break the seal, making him stronger than ever. The seal is called Blaze of Samadhi, which can burn anyone who touches it except the head of the Kanagi family. Ryuya passes the power to Ren, and he burns the seal away, which allows multiple users to control the evil spirits and devour Ren's soul. Kazuma thinks the Kanagi clan has always used the Fuga clan as tools and stole their power source. This is the reason the Fuga clan wants to destroy the Kanagi family. Jugo agrees with his statement, and Ayano asks her father to let her go and rescue Ren. But her father stops her as she does not have the power. Kazuma decides to become a backup, as with his power they can stop Ryuya. The Fuga family has been gathered, and Ryuya feels the Kanagi family is coming. Jugo asks Ayano to trust Kazuma to beat the enemy. Kazuma tells Ayano not to lose her self-control in the car as they have to save Ren by any means. While Kazuma makes a serious face, Ayano gets rizzed up, but after a short moment, he feels threatened and grabs Ayano to get out of the car while it is destroyed by wind magic. Ryuya arrives, and Kazuma remembers two scenarios about a woman being sacrificed and a woman asking him to protect her. Ryuya and Kazuma are now face to face, and he will not let the Fuga clan sacrifice his brother. Ayano could not feel Ryuya's presence since a fire magic user couldn't sense a top-notch wind magic user. She brings out her fire sword, Inreya, which can destroy any type of Yauma, but Ryuya overpowers her and asks Kazuma to act as a backup. However, he runs with the tail between his legs to find Ren and leaves Ayano alone. Hayao asks Ren to eat up the seal, releasing their god and unleashing his power. As soon as their god is unsealed, Kazuma arrives, sending every Fuga clan member flying away and entrapping the god. After reconciliation between Ren and Kazuma, Hayao asks why he is helping them if he and Kazuma mutually hate Kanagi. Emotionally, he is still with the Kanagi, and Hayao gets blown away after he tries to attack. Ryuya arrives from the back after defeating Ayano, and absorbs their god to become the absolute being. However, the Fuga clan's god begins to attack his own people out of hatred and heads toward the Kanagi household. Kazuma goes after Jehu, Fuga's god, along with Ren. The injuries that Ayano sustained are fatal, and Kazuma just has the right elixir to save her. He disagrees initially, but after he sees Ren all angry and covered in flames, he puts the elixir in his mouth and smooches Ayano to make her drink it. Ayano survives and shows that tsundere-type gratitude. Kazuma enrages her by mass trolling her powers and then holds her and Ren to fly at Jehu's location. Jehu's aura makes all of the evil spirits in the forest awake while Kazuma drops Ren in the forest to take care of them. He and Ayano now fight Jehu, but he manages to knock her out almost in a single punch. Kazuma tells her to focus on Ryuya's body while he suppresses his wind magic. He uses an attack from above, which flattens the ground and holds Jehu. But as Ayano attacks him, he manages to get up and starts attacking her. While she blocks his attacks, Kazuma tells her to hold him off momentarily, goes into hibernation, and uses his contract for his most potent magic. Ayano uses her maximum fire potential attack, but it is not enough to stop Jehu. Kazuma arrives, and she notices a difference in his eyes. He explains being chosen by the spirit of wind, which makes Ayano guess he is the famous contractor. Meanwhile, Jehu is on the move, and to stop him, Kazuma gathers all of the winds of the earth to make him succumb to tornadoes and tells Ayano to finish him ultimately. After Jehu perishes, Kazuma tells Ayano that he waited a little extra intentionally not to make her feel like a loser. He asks how long she plans to look like that, and Ayano finds out she is being a swagger on top of him and knocks him out as Ren blushes. After the area is cleared, 2 detectives arrive, and one of them seemingly knows Kazuma and finally knows he has returned to Japan. Genma is in a hospital after his battle with Kazuma, and he is also present in the room. Genma asks Kazuma what he will do now, which he does not know himself, and flies away from the room as his father smiles. The Kanagi celebrate Kazuma as he helped them eliminate the Fuga clan's problem. Kazuma arrives late and is greeted by everyone, including Ayano. The sister of Shingo's companion, Masao, is told to attend Kazuma even if it means to break the bed. However, Kazuma breaks the ice as he mentions himself to be a part of her brother's death. Masao loses her cool and tries to stab him, but his wind barrier protects him. Jugo and Masao's father ask Kazuma to punish her, or they will be the ones to do it. He thinks there is no reason to punish her since her attack did not hurt him, and he leaves the room. Ayano and her friends walk together while she is in a bad mood. Meanwhile, Kazuma arrives from a dark alley where some dumpster fire hotels are, with a certain blondie, which makes Ayano jealous after seeing her talents. Jealous, Ayano begins to stalk them and asks Ren to come, but they cannot find Kazuma and the blondie in a hectic street. As Ren gets tired and stops, he sees Kazuma in a building and tells her. They wait just to see him with Masao, which makes Ayano jealous than ever. Both snoop around and follow them, but Kazuma knows about his stalkers. Masao and Kazuma reach and enter a building while Ren and Ayano watch them. She becomes angry enough to melt down a pole and thinks about them wrestling. However, it was all Masao's plan to lead Kazuma to a place to get him killed, but mere bullets and grenades are useless against him. Masao runs away from the plane, and Ayano tries to confront her on the top of a building, where a fight breaks out between them, but Kazuma stops it. Kazuma asks Ayano and Ren to leave Masao as it is their matter, and he returns the purse to her. But Masao's pride came in the way, and she tried to kill him again with her puny fire magic. She starts spamming her magic until she gets tired, repeatedly asking why he killed her brother. She swears never to forgive Kazuma, but he walks away, and Ren and Ayano follow him. They return home by their means, while Masao stands on the same roof until night falls. A strange figure arrives behind her and asks what is her wish, either to become strong or die. She replies to all of them, and as she looks at the figure, she is baffled. A woman walks in the subway station until all of the lights turn red, and goo swarms the whole area, and swallows her in as Masao talks to an undisclosed yellow-haired figure. The goo spreads its dominance in the subway by eating every civilian, and Masao now serves the yellow-haired figure, also known as her angel. Meanwhile, Ayano arrives at the hotel where Kazuma stays, along with her friends as they tease the cherry girl. She enters Kazuma's room and explains to him the situation of middle-aged people attacked in the subway, and their body looks all drained up. Jugo wants Kazuma and Ayano to take out the attacker as nobody else in the clan has been powerful enough since the attack of the Fuga clan. Ayano sees Kazuma's jacket and remembers when he used it to comfort Masao, and she becomes red and jelly. He accepts the offer and asks Ayano to let him do it alone as she will be nothing but a burden, which makes her hot-headed and she leaves. As she leaves, Kazuma has his eyes on her as bait, and when she and her friends enter a dark alley, they are attacked by the goo. Ayano summons Enreja to destroy the goo, but before she knows it, she and her friends are cornered. Kazuma arrives from behind and together they overpower the goo and tell her that he deliberately used her as bait, which makes her 2 brain cells angry and he flies away. Kazuma realizes the source of this problem and finds Masao to confront her. As he approaches her, Ayano arrives from behind and tries to attack Masao, but Kazuma stops her and says it is their matter. Masao seizes the moment and runs away, and Ayano tries to blame it all on Kazuma, but he reminds her how weak her powers are and goes away. In a church, Masao and her angel are together and the angel promises her to give powers, but the process is too much to take in for Masao. However, the process of passing the powers of the angel solidifies Masao in the goo. At the Kanagi household, Jugo allows the Ogami family to take care of Masao by disowning her and investigating her matter. The Ogami are concerned about Kazuma, so they ask Jugo to get him off the case as he might intervene, and he asks Ayano to stop him at all costs. Masao's location is revealed to the Ogamis by the blondie detective who has some ties with Kazuma and debriefs Ren and Ayano. As Ayano was jealous when she saw them together before, she asks about their relationship, but the blondie, Kirika, is not obliged to report her, which makes Ayano drop the ball. The show begins as the Ogamis arrive at the church and confront Misao, and she mentions Ayano. It angers her and leaves the monitoring room, but it's too late as Kazuma reaches the church early. In Kazuma's past, some kids used to bully him with fire magic as he was a disgrace. Ayano prepares and believes that she can fight Kazuma. She falls off a building and starts to fight him by using Enrea and throws 2 fire orbs, but she is no match for him. She loses her composure and is about to hit the ground, but Kazuma saves her out of pity. Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren goof around until Masao's power grows and she kills everyone in the vicinity. The 3 rush to confront her and Masao attacks Kazuma, but her attack fails to hit him. Ayano calls her attack mid and Masao speaks about her angel who gave her powers. As everyone wonders who is this angel, they arrive from the church and reveal that Masao will never be able to defeat Kazuma, and they want to use a Kanagi clan member to accumulate people's energy to kill Masao themselves. The angel is a relative to Kazuma's great master who is here to avenge his death. Kazuma says he will send him to hell, where he sent his great master. Kazuma begins his attack, but the angel dodges it and assures that in this battle, Kazuma will be the one to die, and he summons out the great dragon Vrtra. If Kazuma defeats the dragon, it might kill Masao as well. To purify the dragon, he asks Ayano to use her purifying fire, but that is something that only the higher-ups can do. Kazuma wants Masao alive no matter the cost, and Ayano shoots her fire orb directly at the head of Vrtra, but it instantly regenerates. Vrtra tries to attack Ayano, but Kazuma saves the Ice Princess. Ren stops Vrtra from attacking them as they retreat, and as they land, Kazuma receives an injury from Vrtra's attack. Ayano tells him to stay there until Ren and her beat the dragon, but Kazuma hugs her and tells her to hang on for 5 minutes. Ayano returns to Ren and asks him to wait for Kazuma as they hold off Vrtra. Kazuma initiates his contract once again to create a powerful wind force and returns to Ayano to provide her with the flames of wind and kill Vrtra by cutting it in half. The angel wonders how much they have this much power and dies, while Kazuma and Ayano recover Masao. After they recover Masao, Kazuma asks her to pay the amount for saving her life, and our Tsundere champ loses it. Winter season has arrived and the trio visits Masao in a nunnery where she prays to seek forgiveness for her sins. While on a walk, Masao asks Kazuma why he saved her instead of killing her, and he explains the girl who saved him from the bullies in his past was Masao. After they reminisce, the trio drops Masao back at the nunnery and returns to their way. The focus shifts to a gloomy school where a student rushes for her home but gets attacked by something that seems to be a monster. At the Kanagi household, Jugo tells Ayano about Hitodama's attacking her school. Hitodama is a type of monster that is not harmful, but for civilians, they are trouble. As she is familiar with the surroundings, Jugo entrusts the job to her as she is familiar with her school, and hires Kazuma as her bodyguard. She hesitates and Jugo says if she will not do the job, he will pass it to the Kirika. She thinks of a smutty situation between Kirika and Kazuma which makes her take the job. They arrive at the school and cannot sense any monster in the area. A bush moves and Ayano starts her attack, but Kazuma jerks her leg which makes her lose accuracy, and the fire orb explodes in the air. Turns out, Ayanos are in the bush. After they exchange some words, they enter the school and discuss the wonders that take place in it, including a cherry blossom tree that has not bloomed for years, but people hear whispers under it. Kazuma feels something and an airwave blows from behind, which starts a panties show. Ayano almost kills Kazuma as she blames him, but a Hitodama passes from the hallway. Ayano finds something suspicious, and to pipe her down, Kazuma kisses her nose and the Hitodama comes, making her unconscious. The Hitodama warns everyone its power will be worse next time if they proceed to follow it. Ayano wakes up and tries to attack it, but Kazuma stops her and he tells everyone to wait and see what it plans to do. They continue to follow the Hitodama and it warns them again with a severe wave of air, making Ayano fall. The cycle continues for a while until they hide in a room and reach the playground of the school. A bucket falls from the sky directly on Ayano's head, which makes her whimper like a baby. Kazuma manages to catch the Hidodama and it turns out to be a pixie, a type of fairy that has the mental age of a baby similar to Ayano. The pixies are here to fulfill the wishes of their elder, that is to bloom the blossom tree. They get together and make his wish come true as Ayano, Kazuma, and their friends gaze upon the beautiful scenery. After the main event, they walk away home and Kazuma reveals that pixies are mischievous and they tend to mess with human beings. Ayano loses her cool and starts cursing at the pixies while everyone gazes at the beautiful sky. Meanwhile, Ren is the famous kid in his school for whom people fight only to spend time with him. A girl wins Ren over a boy and takes him, supposedly, on a date to a bakery and then karaoke. Ayano and his mischievous bodyguard, Kazuma, are fighting ghosts, but she does all the work and starts to complain about Kazuma's unserious behavior. He earns from the family for doing nothing and Ayano asks him to buy her snacks. On the other hand, Ren is on his way home in the bright moonlight and is distracted by someone singing in the park. While she asks him to play with her, Ayano and Kazuma are on a soft launching, but Kazuma is distracted by a Hidodama and leaves the hotel immediately. Ren and the girl, Ayumi, introduce each other and continue to play. Meanwhile, Kazuma enters a dark alley to ask the pixie about her situation as she knows he is a contractor. Shiana, the pixie, wants him to save their clan, but as Kazuma is the guy who talks with money, wants a reward, and Tiana offers him the jewels and gold of her land. In the park, Ren and Ayumi bid farewell, but their good time only lasts for some moments as some agents arrive and kidnap Ayumi. As Ren tries to stop them, the agents reveal that they belong to the Tsuwabuki family, and if he interferes, the relationship of Kanagi and Tsuwabuki will worsen. So, the agents ask Ren to back off as she is their property. Ren does not hold back and tells them to either run away or die. The agents back off and the report reaches Jugo and Ayano. The matter is only set to get worse as the Tsuwabuki family might kill Ren, and Ayano leaves and makes sure she works alone. Kazuma and Tiana head towards the location of their sacred treasure that is stolen by none other than the Tsuwabuki family. The Tsuwabuki family is known to be the most powerful magic family that controls the spirits of Earth, and Kazuma thirsts to battle them. In a mansion, a man apologizes to someone named Lady Mayumi as his team has failed to capture the treasure because of Ren Kanagi. Mayumi threatens the man, Yuji, that if he associates the treasure with her, he will be banished. Kazuma and Tania arrive and he cannot sense the treasure inside the mansion. Through Tania, he learns about a woman named Kiraha, whom he has heard about in rumors. Kiraha is the Tsuwabuki leader's daughter who runs the clan due to her father's health and tells her agents to get the treasure in time or Mayumi will have to stand up. Kiraha notices Tania and Kazuma's presence and pulls them into the mansion. Everyone is surprised to see Kazuma's wind powers and tells them they have stolen Tiana's land treasure. He leaves the mansion and warns them that they will perish tomorrow, and he hopes they will not give up the treasure without a fight. Kazuma and Tiana plan their move, and Ren and Ayumi go to a safe place where nobody follows them. Ayumi wishes to see the sea and she teases Ren's arm by hugging it. Ren agrees to take her to the sea, but she plans to go back to her family, the Tsuwabuki, as she is a treasure of a grand ceremony. According to Kazuma, when Mount Fuji erupted 300 years ago, its kai made a monster and the Tsuwabuki clan defeated it. To keep it sealed, the clan has a grand ceremony every 30 years to reseal the monster by making the treasure use all of its power and ultimately die for the cause. Ayumi hates the fact she is the lead of the ceremony, but as her sacrifice will save numerous lives, her death will not be meaningless. Ayumi has someone else's memories planted, and now she wants to see everything with her own eyes before she dies. This makes Ren melt like butter and he promises to protect her no matter what. They reach the sea and Ayumi feels alive after a long while, but Mayumi arrives and asks her to come with her. The situation escalates and Yuji starts smashing Ayumi's face on the stairs for running away. Ren remembers his promise and attacks Yuji and Mayumi to protect her. Yuji gets down on the beach and since he is an earth magic user, he begins to fight Ren. Ren expands his fire to turn the sand into magma and uses it to counter Yuji, but Mayumi takes Ayumi with her. Mayumi reveals that Ayumi is her clone and her memories are planted in her, which makes her non-human and she only has a month to live. Ren sits in despair as Ayano and Kirika arrive. Ayano runs to Ren and Mayumi asks Kirika to tell the Kanagi family about the successful treasure retrieval which will not make them guilty in this case. Kazuma and Tiana see Yuji and Mayumi return to the mansion. But to make things more interesting, he plans to steal the treasure, an egg inside of Ayumi, right in the middle of the ceremony. Kiraha, Mayumi's older sister, leads her and Ayumi to reunite and Yuji is dismissed. The next day, Yuji asks Kiraha about Mayumi's whereabouts as she is not present in her room, and he knows Kiriha did something to her. She takes Yuji to the sanctuary where the ceremony will take place, where Mayumi and Ayumi are trapped in a crystal. As Ayumi escaped, her body did not reach the final adjustments, and now Kiriha shares Mayumi's power with Ayumi's body. As Yuji is about to reach his breaking point, she asks him if he wants enormous power to dismiss all kinds of enemies. Jugo talks to someone and tells them Ren is fine but a little depressed since he is a heartbreak kid now. Ayano arrives and Jugo tells her to not interfere with Tsuwabuki's ceremony, as the Kanagi has no right to judge them on that. In the sanctuary, Kiriha talks with her father, who became a piece of stone when he tried to fight Kiriha. She tells him to watch as she marks the end of his clan and her wish becomes true. Ayano leaves and heads toward the lake to find Ren to give him a lecture about abandoning Ayumi even after they become friends. After Ren realizes his true feelings, he weeps and wants to apologize to Ayumi and tell her how good of a time he had with her. Back in the sanctuary, Kiriha asks Ayumi to forget about her boyfriend and focus on the ceremony. Kiriha's agent arrives and tells her about two intruders who use fire magic. Ren and Ayano blast everyone in their way until they meet Yuji, who has turned into a golem. Yuji stops Ren and knocks out Ayano with his kick. Ren tries talk no jutsu on him but it does not work, and as soon as he is about to get smashed, Kazuma arrives and slashes Yuji into pieces. He warns Ayano and Ren that Yuji is still alive, and Yuji remembers the time when Mayumi kissed him and swore his loyalty to protect her. Yuji speaks about sacrificing his life for the one he swore to protect, and Ren tries to talk him out again but fails miserably. Before he knows it, Ren uses the higher-up's purifying flame which destroys Yuji's golem body without hurting him and he becomes unconscious. He looks at Mount Fuji and tells Ayano and Kazuma where the real enemy is. Kiriha arrives at the location and pities Yuji as he cannot do anything even after she gives him powers. The power of the Tsuwabuki clan comes directly from the beast they sealed, which means Ren's hunch was right. Kazuma locates Ayumi in the mansion with his wind and the distinguished gentleman to his girlfriend. Ren finally apologizes to Ayumi and threatens the guards by telling them he killed Yuji before arriving here. The guards leave and he asks her to live with her forever, and she agrees. Kazuma arrives from behind by using Ayano as bait again and asks Ren to join him in the battle to defeat the beast and end the circle of madness. Ayano fights Kiriha in the woods and is overpowered by Kiriha's earth magic. Kiriha is similar to Kazuma. She was born without earth magic powers and became greedy for power. In the sanctuary, Kazuma frees Mayumi from the crystals and the area begins to collapse. Kazuma gets everyone from the roof and while he is flying, he locates Ayano. Suddenly, Ren notices a stone on the ground, who is Kiriha's father, and he begs them to stop her right before he breaks. While Ayano and Kiriha fight, Kazuma arrives with everyone and Ayano runs to kick him and he sees Heaven's blessing and asks her not to give high kicks while she wears a skirt. Kiriha attacks from behind but Kazuma stops and tells her to reveal her real intention of the ceremony, which is to acquire the power of the beast. Her father tells Kazuma everything, and he breaks the ice by mocking her disability of not being able to use the innate magic of the family, just like him. Kazuma blows her mind as he tells her that the monster has been using her since the start to make her a medium of resurrection. Kiriha connects the dot and she starts to tremble. He asks her if the monster is sealed under the crystal that he destroyed, and unfortunately, the monster is indeed sealed there. The whole ground shakes as Mount Fuji erupts and the monster, Zenon, comes out of the mountain's heart. Kazuma and Ayano head towards Zenon to fight and Ren follows them after he promises Ayumi that he will return. Zenon shoots an orb from his mouth but Kazumi and Ayano manage to dodge it. Kiriha goes berserk on the ground as the trio continues their fight, but it does not seem to affect Zenon since he is using a Kai barrier. Kiriha arrives and holds down using earth magic miraculously and asks him to give her life back. As Ayumi sees everybody struggling to fight the beast, she starts the ceremony. But before she can reach the main stage, Ren asks Ayano and Kazuma to give him their powers and ultimately defeat Zenon in a single hit. After they collect themselves, Ren notices that Ayumi has collapsed and rushes toward her, while Kazuma tells Ayano that she holds the treasure of the pixies, an egg which produces the next chief of their tribe. Ayumi and even Kazuma cannot do anything, while they watch Ren and Ayumi share their final words. In the end, Ayumi turns into dust and Ren cries his heart out. After the destruction of Tsuwabuki is over, Ren visits the beach where he took Ayumi and wishes he could show her more things. Kazuma and Ayano arrive from behind as he bids farewell to Ayumi and her memories on the beach. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed our video. Give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more fantastic and steamy content.